Hey everyone, it's Sonja from DIYs with Sonja, and welcome back to my channel, where I share high-end home decor dupes, Pottery Barn inspired DIYs, and easy look for less projects that make your home feel luxurious on a budget. In today's video, I'm bringing you high-end Christmas dupes, a collection of my favorite DIYs from previous years that still look absolutely stunning. If you're looking for elegant, expensive looking holiday decor without the high price tags, you are going to love these ideas. So grab a cozy drink, get comfy, and let's get inspired together. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification because over the next few months, I'll be sharing tons of new Christmas DIYs, decorating ideas, and affordable ways to create that designer holiday look you'll love. Let's jump right in and start creating some magical Christmas decor for way less. For my next DIY, I couldn't believe my luck when I saw these three bells on Facebook Marketplace for $10. I was very excited and knew exactly what I wanted to do with them. McGee Co in their catalog has these three rattan bells for $188. And as soon as I saw these, I knew exactly what I was going to do with them. They did, as you can see, they're red, they're not very attractive looking, and they smelled really, really bad. So I did take the rusty wire off, and then I ended up giving them a good cleaning to get rid of the smell. For the paint, I did go with a chalk paint in the Annie Sloan Old Ochre, just because it is a beige paint. That was the only reason why I'm using it. I've had it for a while. It is kind of starting to get thick, meaning I need to use it up, so I don't have to add too much water to it. And I've been using it for different projects, and this one was also one of them. And chalk paint also, I find, does a lot better coverage than acrylic paint, meaning you probably won't have to go with it several different with several different coats, especially because I was painting over red. I did get some water and water the paintbrush as well, just to get that helps to get into little nooks and crannies if the paint is a little bit more wet. And you definitely want to paint the inside and the outside of the bell. Once all the three bells were painted and they had some time to dry, I went in with some brown and then also added a little bit more of this old ochre to it, and some water, and I just dabbed it with some paper towel, water, and then into the brown paint, and just to add a little bit of depth to the paint, and so it's not so beige. And you want to blend until it looks like it's always been there. I was absolutely thrilled with the way these turned out. I think they are such a great dupe for those bells, and you never know what you can find in your thrift store or at your on your Facebook Marketplace. So make sure you keep checking. Came from Value Village, and a friend actually dropped it off. She picked it up, thought of me when she saw it, and knew I could do something with it to make it look a little bit more beautiful. The eyes on this thing were a little bit freaking me out, so I did remove them, as well as this pom-pom that was stuck on here forever. I could not get this off whatsoever. It struggled for a bit. I used a butter knife to try and get it off, but I was afraid I was gonna like cut my finger with the butter knife. But these shears seem to work a little bit better. They're like the metal cutting shears, but I more or less use them as a uh, just to grab on to the pom-pom. So I wanted to say thank you so much for pressing play and watching this video. If you are stopping by for the very first time, my name is Sonja, and over in this channel I share lots of different types of DIYs, seasonal as well as home makeover DIYs, furniture makeovers, and just DIYs in general. So if this is something that interests you, make sure you hit that subscribe button and a notification bell so you get notified when the new videos pop up. So once I removed it, I took a sanding block and just sanded the little bit of glue that was left on it. I do feel that I need to get a new sanding block because the sanding part on it was almost worn out. I did have to use a little bit of a craft knife just to scrape some of it off. Now I was going to dilute my Annie Sloan chalk paint and use it as a stain, but then I remembered that I did purchase this chalk paint at Dollar Tree and remembered how watery it was. So that is what I used, and I just poured directly on it for the first part, spread it out, and then I took a rag and just rubbed it off, and I repeated this process several times. I wanted to make sure that all the areas were not evenly covered up, but nicely covered up. I love doing this type of staining. It just gives it a bit of a different look, I guess, than actually using a stain. Similar look, but there is a bit of a difference. So I did this to the whole deer. It was nice that I could take it apart and do this. It would have been a little bit harder if I was all put together and glued together, because then I wouldn't be able to get into all the crevices. This is messy, so be prepared to get your hands dirty or wear gloves if you don't like to get your hands dirty. I don't love wearing gloves. I wish I did, because I'm always have black nails from paint or whatever paint I'm using that's on my nails, and sometimes it's harder to take off. But I just don't love the way the nails feel. So I just, like I said, kept doing this until I reached the desired look I was going for. So here it is, the whole piece painted or stained, and now I wanted to give him a little bit of decoration around his neck. So I had a piece of jute rope that I tied around like a nautical rope, and then I dug through my Christmas stash and found a little greenery and berry and pine cone decoration. That this actually came off of my old wreath, as well as a little jingle bell that I was going to tie around it with just a piece of twine. I think this just gave him a little bit of decoration because he was very simple, but I kind of like how simple he looked. Did not love the eyes, so glad I removed those, and I didn't love the red pom-pom for a nose. I think the deer was cute at one point, but we wanted to give him a bit of a more sophisticated look. I think he's going to look really good on my front porch. So once I tied this up, I did add a little bit of glue just to hold everything in place. For my next DIY, I picked up these bells. Now, to me, these bells looked fairly new. I have not seen them around here anywhere, but I've seen them online at Walmart, so I'm not sure whether that's where these guys came from. And I just wanted to give them a little bit of a gold color since that was all the bells in my house were kind of a goldish color. So I tried painting them just with the paint, acrylic paint, and I use spun gold for this. But I did find that the coverage wasn't quite what I was hoping for. So I put one coat of this, just a light coat of just paint on its own. And then for the second coat, once they had time to dry, I added a little bit of baking soda to my paint and painted them with that. That gave it a little bit of texture, but I was still leaving some of that dark bronze to kind of look poke through in certain areas. So for the other two, I just went directly with a thicker paint. I just felt that that worked a little bit better, and there wasn't need to do two coats. Once they were dry, to add them to my banister, I just use some twine and tied it up. For first DIY, we're starting off with some bells from Dollar Tree and a toilet plunge from Dollar Tree. I picked up 5 of these bells for $1.50. I'm located in Canada and we are at $1.50. And as you can see, they're a little bit different than the bells that I had made up before. These guys have a bit of a lip. And I'm going to be removing the greenery as well as the bows and berries off of them, so that way I just have a plain bell. And once everything was removed, I do take a cleaning wipe, almost like a degreaser, and give them a good cleaning, so that way I have no problem with paint going on them. And I'm going to be using metallic gold and satin black spray paints to make over these bells. I will be using the wood part of the plunger and then also some rope. Now the inspiration for this DIY is from Pottery Barn, and I was trying to recreate this look. Now I do know that the shape of the bells is a little bit different, but I think we can create a very similar look for around $10 instead of $283. So I went outside and gave the bells a coat of black paint, spray paint, and I just tried to spray it as evenly as possible without getting any drips. I wasn't going for 100% coverage. I just wanted to have a nice dark base. And then once I was down on one side, I flipped them and did the other side, and then I let them completely dry before I went in with my metallic gold paint. I picked up this paint at Michael's just because I was using my coupon. And I have to tell you guys, I absolutely love this color of gold. There's just something about it. It's so soft and nice looking. I was quite impressed. There's so many different variations of gold that I was worried, but I absolutely love that one. So here I'm just showing you that if you wanted to have that exact look, I have these little hangers from IKEA, and you could spray and paint them black, but then you would have to drill holes into the wall, or maybe if you already have these up, you could hang up the bells onto it. I am just going to use this piece of wood from the toilet plunger. I'm going to stain it with some paint and two different colors of paint. I just want to clean it up before the sticky part, so that way I can apply the paint evenly, and that way I can hang this up wherever I want. It's not restricted to putting screws into the wall. For the paint, I'm using a Dollar Tree black chalk paint, and I'm just going to dab a rag in it and rub it on. That way some of the wood grain that's on it will show through. I also want to mention that today's video is in collaboration with my dear friend Sandra from the Schwoman's Nest, or the DIYs at the Schwoman's Nest. I have known Sandra for a very, very long time off YouTube, and now we are obviously friends on YouTube as well. We used to be neighbors at one point, but now we live a couple streets over, and I love Sandra's channel. I think Sandra is one of the most creative people I know. Her DIYs are amazing. So if you have never seen Sandra's channel, make sure you head on over. I will have her channel linked down below for you to check out, and make sure you tell her that I have sent you over there. And if you're stopping by from Sandra's channel, welcome. My name is Sonja, like I said, and I'm glad that you're here. I hope you enjoy my DIYs, and make sure you let me know that you are stopping by from her channel. So once I was done with black chalk paint, I did go in again while it was still somewhat wet and applied some of the metallic gold acrylic paint, same way as I did the chalk paint, just rubbing it on and blending it in. This just made it look a little bit antique in my opinion. And make sure you paint the ends as well. So while I was painting that, my bells have dried completely, and now I'm going to be adding some ropes to them through the exact holes that the greenery was threaded through. Now on the picture, the rope is a little bit thicker, but that's okay. I'm just going to use what I have, and I love the look that it ends up turning out with that thinner rope. So all I'm gonna do is cut rope in 5 different lengths, so that way when I hang them up, they're all gonna hang in drop down in different lengths. I'm going to thread the rope through the hole, tie it, and then that knot that I tied in, I'm going to thread it back through the hole, so that way it's on the inside of the bell. And then then I'll have a loop, and at the bottom of the loop I'm going to take another piece of rope and just wrap it around, so that way it gives it that look that the bells have on this picture that you can see. I repeat the whole process on all the bells, and then I take my piece of wood and hang them all up. You want to play around to see how they fit the best, or what you like the best in staggering the lengths. I absolutely love the way this turned out. I think the paint is perfect on them, and I am so happy for just $10 what this cost me in materials. Couldn't be more pleased. For my next DIY, I picked these up at your dollar store and more, but I have seen similar ones at Dollar Tree as well. Now, this is the one that is kind of an not a Pottery Barn dupe, but it is a high-end dupe. I've seen these all over Etsy shops, and Indigo has them for $40. I think they might be on sale now. And they're charcuterie boards. Now, I wasn't going to use mine on a charcuterie board. I'm sure you could if you used a proper sealer that is food safe. You could, but I just wanted a little wood board in the shape of a gingerbread man to go against the Christmas charcuterie board I have in my kitchen on a display. I couldn't find one anywhere in the store except, like I said, Indigo had one, but I'm gonna drop a picture of it here so you can see what that looked like. And I did not love the gold buttons that it had. I think at the beginning of the season I did see one at HomeSense as well, but I just didn't pick it up. So nevertheless, I proceeded on making one myself. So I removed all the buttons and the little bow ties, and I'm obviously going to remove the price tags. And like I said, I got this for $1.30, I think it was, at your dollar store and more, or with more. It's a dollar store it's almost like, I would say, comparable to Dollar General in US. And the reason why I picked up two is because I wanted it to be thicker. And so where I had removed all those buttons and bow tie, I am going to glue those two sides together using wood glue and hot glue gun. My wood glue is a little bit thick, so I am using a brush to spread it around, and the little lid was all clogged up anyways. And the hot glue is just there to keep it in place, to give the wood glue time to cure and set. And I'm using little clamps just to hold it together for a little bit. So I will be using the very thin special walnut stain. It is a stain that I have on hand and I like. You can use any stain. You can even use watered down paint if you want. I think you're going to get a very similar look. I am not going to seal this again because, like I said, I'm not using it for anything other than just display. My stain was a little bit thick. I've had it now for almost a year and I haven't used it. So I did decide to put on some gloves. Probably should have put on both of my hands, but just so my fingers don't get too stained. And I really like this technique. I think it shows, even though this is like particle board, it's not really wood. It shows all the little wood grains that it has, and you just want to go in that direction. And I love how simple this project was. I love the way it turned out. It was exactly what I was looking for. And I think it's going to look great in my kitchen. And it cost me $2, $3 tops. And I did decide to stain both sides and then also the sides as well. What do you guys think? I think it looks perfect. For my next DIY, I picked up this Snowflake at Dollarama for, I think it was $1.50. But I do know that, yes, I do know that Dollar Tree carries them similar snowflakes as well. And I saw an inspiration at Kirkland's. And even though this wasn't overly expensive, I think we can do it for a lot cheaper. Everything else, all the materials that I used to complete this project I had on hand. So really this only cost me $1.50 plus tax. So once I had that pesky tag taken off, I am going to leave the rope on just because I'm not sure whether I'm going to hang it up or just lean it up against something. So I just wanted to have that option. So I went out and I spray painted with Rust-Oleum chalk paint in white. And I just gave it a decent amount to cover everything. And once that was dry, which did not take very long to dry at all. So here it is, as you can see, it's all painted. I only did the one side. I brought it in now. At this time, I thought I was going to sand off the distressing, because on that Snowflake, it was distressed. It had like parts that were kind of sanded off, but this was not working for me. So I decided to use warm beige acrylic paint and dry brush it on all the edges or wherever I felt like it needed to be brushed on. So I tried two different brushes. The first one did not work the way I wanted it, so I ended up getting this other brush that was more flat and kind of fanned out, and that worked much better. I don't think the warm beige was showing very well on the camera. Even here you can see it a little bit, but not as much as I would have liked it. But I think it gave the snowflake some dimension, and I love the way it turned out. So simple. This next DIY is probably one of my favorites besides another one of my favorites besides the bells. And we've all seen these Christmas trees. This particular one I saw at Kirkland's, and they are for about 16-inch one. They are about around $40 US. I know the Pottery Barn has their own version. I think even Bed Bath and Beyond, if you have a store like that. We don't anymore. Has one for around $40 as well. I picked this up for, I think it was $3 or $4 at Dollarama, and I ended up painting it with that warm beige and cinnamon bun acrylic paint. I mixed those two together, and then the second coat I did add some baking soda to it, just to add a little bit of texture to it. So once it was dry, I did want to remove that price tag off of it. So like I said, this came from Dollarama, and it was $3, not $4. So I don't know if you can see on camera very well, but there is a ton of texture from that baking soda. Now I'm going to take my hot glue gun and add design. You can use puffy paint if you have some. I did not have any, so I just use my glue gun, and it kind of created the same look. I did this several years back, and I made gingerbread houses using the same technique, so I figured I could use it again. You just have to make sure that you don't have any of those stringy flyaways that the hot glue gun causes. So I tried to follow the same pattern as it was on the dupe, the piece that I was duping. And then I went in once the hot glue gun has dried. Once the hot glue has dried, I went in with Old Ochre from Annie Sloan. It's chalk paint, and I just went over it. And here I am trying to remove those little stringy things. So I just went over all of the glue. And then I'm going to go in with a different paintbrush, and just fill in so it looks like there's a fallen snow on it. just thicken up in certain areas. I also covered the little dots with the paint as well, because that's what the picture was showing. It almost seemed like there was maybe some shimmer to it as well. I did not add any shimmer to mine because I'm not the shimmer kind of person, but you totally could add a little bit of glitter while the paint's wet and just sprinkle some on it. I think that would work quite well as well. So this was fairly easy to make, and I think this was very close to the piece that was at the store. And like I said, mine cost me $3 plus tax, and that one was $40. What do you guys think? Did I do a pretty good job in duping this piece? For my next project, I picked up this wooden tree. I think it's beautiful as it is, a little bit too much sparkle for my liking, but it was coming off just by rubbing it. So if you don't like the little sparkles, little glitter, you could just take it off. I don't think it was even as much of a glitter as it looked like crystal sugar was on it, but nevertheless, it was still sparkling, so I wanted to, or glittering, I wanted to take that off a little bit. But like I said, the tree looked really good as was, but I had something in my mind that I wanted to do with it. So if I want to, I'm gonna go pick up another one like this and leave it as is. So I got some cinnamon brown and painted the whole tree except the bottom, actually even the bottom part, this with this cinnamon brown because I wanted to recreate this gingerbread tree. I absolutely love the way this looks. Now, I could have picked up a very similar looking tree at Dollarama as well that kind of went to the ground and looked more like a ceramic decor piece versus more of the rustic look that this tree has. But I did love the way this tree looked. So I thought I can combine best of both worlds and do this one in that gingerbread tree look. It did only need one coat of paint to cover it all. And then once the paint fully dried, I went in with some puff paint and created a design. I found that this was so much fun to create, and I absolutely enjoyed making this project so much so that I am thinking about going and getting some more things to add the puff paint to. And here it is. I just love the way it turned out. Are so popular this year is just some vintage prints inside a frame. I did print out this Christmas picture, Santa picture that I made, but it did not fit inside the frame. So I was debating what to do, and then Sandra had mentioned she had some fabric she wasn't using, and I thought this would be a perfect thing to use here. So I had picked up this frame from Value Village. It was $7.99. I actually love the frame and I didn't mind the print that was in there. So I am carefully going to remove it so I can reuse the frame and safely store the print so that way it doesn't get damaged because I might be adding it back in and using it as part of my decor outside of Christmas. And for this, I was trying to kind of get the look, the inspiration for this project. It doesn't necessarily look the same, but an inspiration for this project was the same as the inspiration last DIY video I made with prints in it. I'm going to add it here just so you can see what I'm talking about. This obviously isn't an expensive piece at $20. It's very hard to find, and it's even harder if you don't have Target anywhere near you. So I decided to recreate another print because I did needed one more for my master bedroom. And so I took that fabric that Sandra had offered and I added to it. I put the print first just to use it as a guide. I traced it and then cut it out, and then I added it to the frame. I did make sure that it fit before I reassembled it, and I also gave a little dollop of glue just in a couple corners just to keep the fabric in place so it doesn't move while I'm reassembling the frame. You could also take this frame and paint it or add some rub and buff if that's what you wanted, but I thought this frame looked really pretty without any upcycling needed. So I just kept it as is. Black acrylic paint, some cornstarch. Thrifted item is this deer, and I got it for $10. Was a little bit high, but I really like the size of it. And then I also picked up some Dollar Tree deers to go with it. So two of those glass ones. So the first thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to mix up the paint by adding cornstarch and black acrylic paint together. I want to create a textured paint, a little bit thicker consistency than what chalk paint would give you. Because I really want the brush strokes to show up, especially on this big, large deer, to almost give it a look like the fur looks on him in real life. So that's what I was trying to recreate with this textured paint. So I start off with really adding equal amounts of paint to cornstarch, and then you'll see how thick your paint is and how thick you want your paint to be. I did end up adding a touch more paint just because it was a little bit thicker than I wanted it to be. And once I reached the correct consistency for my liking, I end up painting the whole thing, and I am using a bristle brush just because, like I said, I want to really show those brush strokes. Because the paint was so thick, I did not need to do it two coats. However, I did really want to get into all the nooks and crevices, so I am using a smaller paintbrush for that, just to make sure I cover all that blue sparkle that was this deer was painted with. Now I am also going to be doing the exact same thing with these glass ears. Now this the coverage wasn't going on as well as with the other one, so this did need two coats. And this is what they look like after two coats of paint. If you are following along on my home channel, you probably saw that a lot of my new decor is black, and I wanted to incorporate some of that black into my Christmas decor as well, and I think these deers are a perfect addition to that. So for my first project, I'm going to be creating the St. Jude candles from a Pottery Barn. These are bell looking candles, and I've wanted to create this for such a long time, all of last year, and I just couldn't find something that would work that I liked. So when my friend asked me if I wanted these, I knew exactly what I'm going to use them for. And I'm also purchased two candles from Dollar Tree, although I should have purchased probably four more. And then I'm going to also add some essential oils to create that cozy winter Christmas scent. So the first thing that I did is I went ahead and I spray painted it. This it will just give me a quick and solid base for these candle holders, and I'm using a metallic gold spray paint to do this. Once the project had fully dried, I went in with a couple different paints just to create that vintage, almost like hammered look that those candles have. So I'm going to be using some metallic, some spun gold, some yellow gold, and then also a metallic cinnamon. And I think this will just give me that look that I'm going for. First, I tried to do it with a sponge brush, which worked okay. But then I went ahead and got my craft brush, craft foam sponge, not brush, and I wetted it, and that worked really, really well. Started off with spun gold, but then I decided to add more colors to it and just blend it in together as I go. So I added some yellow gold, and then later on I add some metallic cinnamon. By blending in all the three colors and plus the base color, it just gave me the depth, and it gave me that vintage hammered look that I was trying to achieve. I also wanted to take a moment to thank you all for giving me so much love on my last two videos. I truly, truly appreciate it, and I am so grateful that you guys are enjoying all of the DIYs that I have been creating. I have been having so much fun creating and even more fun decorating with them for Christmas, as I already started decorating my home. So once I completed one, I did repeat that on the lids as well as on the other jar. I just didn't want to bore you with it. And then while that was drying, I did melt the candles, just putting the candles into the pot of water and boiling the water, which melts the wax. And then I removed the wax strip and added it to my jar, making sure that there was some wax on the bottom of the jar, so that way that will act as a glue. And then I also used a stick just to wrap the wick around, so that way it stays in place. And then when I poured on the melted candle, because I always forget how much less is in there than what the what it actually looks like once it's solid. So this gave me about a quarter of the container of the jar, of wax, so I did add a little bit from the other one as well. So that now I have two half full candle holders, which is okay. Next time, because I can always make more if I feel that I burn through it. I don't typically burn through candles a lot because I don't burn a lot of candles in my home anymore, but once in a while I do like to light it up for ambiance. We'll see how much of it I actually use it up. I did end up adding some of the essential oils. I added, well, a little bit more cinnamon than I anticipated because the drops weren't coming out, so I took the thing off of it. But it would be 2 drops of each, and it's cinnamon, pine needles, and orange, and it gives you a really cozy Christmas scent. So now I'm repeating the same process for the other jar, and like I said, I filled it about halfway and then I added the rest to the other jar. And then while that was setting, I wanted to do something for this tip of the jar lid. So I decided to wrap rope around it, and I used a little bit of hot glue to secure the first end of the rope, and then I went ahead and wrapped, adding dabs of hot glue along the way, so that way it just stays in place because it was narrow at the bottom and wider on the top. If I didn't add the glue, the rope kept sliding down, so this just kept it in place. And I did the same thing for the other jar lid as well, so that way they match. I'm not sure if I'm going to be using them together when I decorate, but in case if I do, they will look like they are a pair. And to complete it, I added more hot glue on top just to add to close up the top, and then I tied it in a knot with leaving a little loop on top of it. And I absolutely love the way this turned out. I am quite happy that I finally found something that I liked for this dupe. Thanks so much for spending time with me during Christmas in July. I hope you found tons of inspiration and ideas for creating a high-end holiday look on a budget. If you loved today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and share it with a friend who's dreaming of a designer Christmas without the price tag. I'll be back with even more seasonal DIYs, budget-friendly decor, and festive inspiration, so stay tuned. And until next time, happy creating, my friends.